Good morning. My name is Carl Ramos. When it comes to marketing, the main goal is to influence the consumer to decide what to actively benefit the business by purchasing their product. Something businesses like to use in marketing is psychology. It can play an important role in understanding human behavior in order to make a sale successful. Today, I'm going to inform you on how people use psychology or psychological tactics in marketing. First, I want to go in depth of what market psychology is. According to the article, The Definition of Marketing Psychology and How to Use It, it states that it has been loosely defined as incorporating psychology principles and techniques in marketing. Incorporating marketing psychology can help you to identify the most engaging way of communicating with customers. And a few psychological tactics that are commonly used are understanding the buyer's decision process, taking advantage of impulse purchases, and the use of colorful imagery. According to the article of 10 Psychological Tactics for Impactful Marketing. Now that I've listed a few tactics in marketing psychology, I want to go more in depth about them. The first one I want to talk about is taking advantage of impulse purchases. According to the article 10 Psychological Tactics for Impactful Marketing, it states that in the human brain, there is the compulsive, obsessive behavior and fight or flight response that initiates an impulsive purchase. It also displays a survey that represents 84% of people who took the survey have made impulse purchases. And out of that 84%, only 20% have spent at least $1,000 on impulse purchases, and 54% have spent 100 or more. This type of purchase is usually triggered by a sense of urgency. A few examples of impulse purchases can be groceries, clothing, shoes, or even a car. Some impulse purchases may also relate to having a positive emotion, such as delight. Negative emotions can also play a role in this. Buying yourself something that pleases you may impact your mood and make you feel better. A situation to best portray this tactic is when you're out grocery shopping with your child. You're at the checkout line, and your child sees chocolate and candy lined up on the shelf right next to a line. Now your child wants some candy, so you buy it to satisfy their needs. This is not done on accident, as the candy has been deliberately placed there to trigger an impulsive purchase by you. The next tactic I want to talk about is using colorful imagery. And according to the article, The Psychology of Images and Infographics in Content Marketing, it states that images tend to make us curious and stimulate our minds. Being able to use the right image to support the main point of the content of the advertisement, businesses will try to create a brand identity that promotes a positive emotion when seen. The power of visual content allows marketers to attract consumers to buy their products, and according to the same article, it states that the visual realization and colorful appearances are main points that can give strength to images. The most well-known example of this is the use of red and yellow in fast food logos. I'm sure you've seen or you've been to a McDonald's or a Burger King. If you have, then you should recognize that their logos use a lot of red and yellow, like most fast food. There are studies that show these colors can stimulate our appetite and make us hungry, as well as grab our attention. This entices consumers to stop by these fast food chains simply by looking at the logo. The last tactic I want to talk about is understanding the buyer decision process. According to the article, The Consumer Decision Process by John Dewey, he introduces the 5 stages of which consumers go through when making a purchase. These stages are need recognition or problem, information search, evaluation of alternatives, purchase, and post-purchase behavior. In the first stage, consumers can recognize what product will satisfy a need that they have. And this can be anything from craving crawfish or requiring a new light bulb for one in your bathroom. And in the second stage, the consumer will be likely to search for more information, for more options, and assess the value of the product or service. Assess the value of it. When a consumer tries to connect information to a product, whether by memory or some other external sources, they're collecting information to assess that product. And by assessing, it's done to evaluate whether or not the product will fulfill the consumer's needs, or if the product in the past failed to satisfy the consumer. An example would be if the consumer is deciding to buy apples at a grocery store and they wanted to fulfill their need of having something sweet. But after recalling that they don't really like apples, they don't make the purchase. That would be the second stage. Now, in the third stage, consumers will compare and contrast multiple products and brands to determine which will benefit or fulfill their need the most, like choosing what light bulb will best fit in their bathroom. And in the fourth stage is where the purchase of the product actually takes place. And at this point, the consumers recognize the value of the product, that the value will bring them, and thus they purchase the products. In the last stage, the consumer will evaluate whether or not they feel satisfied or unsatisfied with the purchase of the product, and this can influence whether they will purchase the product again in the future or consider other brands. They will also feel the need to share their feelings and thoughts about the product itself. This kind of ties back into the second stage of collecting information, whether or not they felt satisfied. Understanding the consumer's decision process allows businesses to better attract and keep customers. So, in conclusion, marketing psychology can impact many consumers into purchasing goods and attract new types of technique benefits that benefits businesses as well as consumers themselves with the satisfaction of the product. Thank you for listening.